At long last, we've made it to the final part of me breaking down all of my favorite anime OPs. There were 4 parts before this, as well as, of course, the video that shows all the OPs. You should watch all of that before you get to this one, because we are in the last 20, the final fucking countdown. And at number 20 is Kuso Rumba, the OP of Zoku, Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei, which, much like the first OP, which I talked about earlier on the list, is full of weird, disturbing imagery and the same congregation of singers and songwriters that were on the previous one. So if you want to know more about the background, you have to check out that video. I told you got to listen to them in order. But yeah, I just like this song even more. It's even heavier, even edgier. I love the call and response vocals. I love the lyrics that really are quite powerful. Talking about the tigers that are living in our hearts, ready to pounce out and stuff. It's basically a song that simultaneously captures the feeling of being like a depressed and sad boy person, while also feeling the need to like pick yourself up and fucking get back at the world that has wronged you, so to speak. Yeah, it's like kind of a bitter song. It's got a darkness, but also this fleeting beauty to it with the pianos. Again, it's very similar to the first OP. I just think it's an even better song. And the visuals are this dismal, grainy, freakish array of like bodies, like diagrams of the human body that look really guro and disgusting, followed by a hilarious, weird, off-kilter dance sequence between Sensei and all the students before him and... oh god, what's the stalker girl's name? I can't remember. The two of them falling through the sky in the classic Macross style, also used in one of the Eureka 7 OPs. It's very much an anime tradition dating back to Macross, of the two characters falling through the sky as they try to reach out to each other. And if you watch the Goku Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei OVAs that came after this season, they use the same OP, but there's 3 different versions for each episode of that OVA, and in those they add color to these sections, which just make it feel even more vibrant, even more beautiful. All the different versions of the Zoku Zetsubou OP are fantastic, and you're going to be hearing another one of those versions later down this list, as you probably know. So the song's so good, I put it on my list twice. I just really love everything about this collaborative project. I mean, again, I kind of went into it before, so not much else to say. At number 19, I've got a song that I probably will be seeing live at Otakon just a couple days before this video goes out, because Shingo 2 and everybody who worked on the OST other than Nujabes is going to be doing a tribute to Nujabes show at Otakon. I'm of course talking about the Samurai Champloo OP, Battle Cry, one of the most iconic hip-hop songs in anime. The visuals are unbelievably gorgeous. This OP was directed by Mamoru Hosoda, who has gone on to be one of the best respected film directors in the industry, and this is unironically one of my favorite things that he's ever worked on. It's just so fucking good. So the song is comprised of a lo-fi hip-hop beat by the master thereof, Nujabes, who unfortunately passed away nearly a decade ago, I think. He was I won't say a pioneer of the genre, but definitely one of the most popular figures therein. His music has continued to permeate the globe, and this show was kind of the launching point for his fame. I mean, even though there are 3 other producers who also worked on this show, all doing a pretty similar style of hip-hop, Nujabes and his collaborations with Shingo 2, I think, are what drew the most attention, especially because he did the Lovesick Hexology with him, in addition to the opening theme, Battle Cry, here. And Shingo 2 is just a fantastic rapper. Bilingual, he, raps in English on this song, and he sounds great. He's sort of known for his massive lexicon, saying lines like, The elements compose a magnum opus, my modus operandi is amalgam, which is one of my favorite lyrics of all time, because, you know, aside from being a bunch of big and cool sounding words, the idea that my modus operandi is amalgam is pretty, like, integral to the nature of Samurai Champloo and really to the entire style of Shinichiro Watanabe and of myself, if I may say so. So yeah, I am absolutely a huge fan of this rap. Of course, I've listened to it countless times and sang along to it countless times. But that video really deserves special mention as well because the character art is so fucking phenomenal. All of the animations are unique, super memorable, just quick little expressions that have so much character, that tell you so much about each character, and are stylized heavily with the, you know, harsh single color appearance as in the really strong contrasting shadows on all of them. It's a very unique style that you won't find in many other places, and all of that on top of these sort of washed out backdrops of like classical Japanese art, but reimagined into something that just aesthetically fits with that animation so gorgeously. It's all timed beautifully. It's all just slick with style. God damn. This is another case where if I was judging this as like song video combos, this would be in the top 5 easily. And I still do absolutely love this song. It's just that we're in the top 20. There's nothing here that's not one of my all-time favorite pieces of music and animation. Okay, maybe it was a little unfair for me to put this one in front of Samurai Champloo, but I just love the song of my number 18, Psycho Pass 2 with Enigmatic Feeling by Ling Tosmai Segure. It actually just occurred to me that I haven't talked about Ling Tosite Segure yet in this list. Because we haven't even gotten to the other song by them that will also be in here. But yeah, needless to say, this is another song by a band that I am a big fan of. I discovered them through the first Psycho Pass OP. They kind of became like the representative Psycho Pass band after that, having done the OPs of the second season and the movie. And yes, Psycho Pass Season 2 sucks ass, and I've, you know, chronicled that very extensively on this channel. But the OP is so fucking dope, and it's probably my outright favorite song by Ling Toste Segure. So that's pretty much why it's so high up on my list. I just love the out of control frenzy of chaotic guitar that plays throughout this song and still manages to sound melodic and like held together. I mean, Ling Toste Segure is I guess I would call them a math rock outfit in that they play very technical music, but they just fly off the handle all the time. Their music almost sounds like it's so close to being uncoordinated that the thought that it is coordinated, the thought that it manages to sound like good at all, is mind-blowing in a way. And their music can be a bit much. It's kind of obnoxious because there's a male and female singer who are both in the highest possible register possible, just screeching over their music, and you know, there's already so much going on in the music. The drums are fucking intense in all their songs, which is of course a big part of why I love it. But you know, if you can parse all the madness going on, they have a lot of really great tracks. An Enigmatic Feeling with those soaring female vocals going, enigmatic feeling. That's some fucking slick, tight shit. And the chorus is extremely fucking just I've said the word memorable on like every single song I've talked about on this whole list. I can't stop myself, but that's exactly what it is. Visually, this one is not as good as either of the OPs of Season 1. Big surprise there, since the visuals of Season 2 are nowhere near as strong as Season 1, but this is the best visual showcase in Season 2. Even though the character designs are not as strong and the color work's not as strong, there are some interesting images and ideas. This weird like repetition of certain animations that goes throughout the video, I think is a pretty neat style. It doesn't always work all throughout, but there's some pretty memorable images. That weird one of like Akane like bursting out of a head or something like that, and like with an evil smile, and it's all in like inverted colors. That's a pretty memorable image, but the best part is in the chorus when she's in the back of the car and there's all the colors passing by over her face to the beat of the song. And then, of course, the shake me, comes out till you die. The repeating image of her, like, tugging on her shirt to that lyric, which is just a great lyric. Such a good fucking song. That's really the main reason it's here. I mean, I would say I enjoy the video. I don't dislike it, but the fact that I love Enigmatic Feeling, and it's almost unfair because I definitely like the full-length version of the song even more, but it's not as though they didn't pick a great slice of the song. It's just like, it's only a minute and a half. I want the whole thing. Oh, it's so tight and good. It's such a good fucking song. All right, I gotta move on. At my number 17, another one of the most iconic of all-time anime OPs is You Are Shock! I will Torimoto say the opening theme of Fist of the North Star, one of the most badass, manly, rock and roll songs of all time. Instrumentally, it's pretty simple, straightforward, and stripped back. There's not a ton going on. It's just a catchy, memorable melody and chord progression, but it's those vocals that take it to the next level. Not only with the infamous lyric, You Are Shock! Which is hilarious, literally meaning you are shock. It sounds awesome in spite of how stupid it is, but all of the vocal melodies are sticky as fuck, and you've got the awesome male vocal that goes to the early part of the song, and you know, when people put this song in OP lists, they almost always choose the You Are Shock part since that's the most famous, but it's really the fucking chorus of this song that takes it to the next level when the female vocal cuts in and she sounds like she's trying to tear the fucking sky in half. Her voice is so awesome, soars so high, and it's just so fucking raw. And when they link together, when they do the harmony on the last part, I will Torimoto say, you can feel all the blood leaving your body. You feel like you are already dead. The video is, of course, just a bunch of badass shit from the show Fist of the North Star, which has a very distinctive aesthetic, being is that it's like I say distinctive, but it's basically Mad Max with a bunch of like huge ripped dudes tearing their shirts off and punching the shit out of each other. But this song could not match that vibe more strongly. It is the most ass-kicking anime OP of all time, very much deserving of its fame. At number 16, I Was Made to Hit in America, Hit in the USA, the OP of BECK by Beat Crusaders. It's a pop rock garage kind of song, very simple and straightforward, but with some incredibly fucking catchy hooks, all strewn throughout. Of course, the incessant chorus, I was made to hit in America, I was made to hit in America. Tons of fun. All the imagery is Americana stuff that's actually rendered really well in 3D because it's just a bunch of signs that look really good, being as this is early 2000s anime CG, giving you that vibe of like the Las Vegas Strip, driving down Route 66 or whatever. And then you got all the characters who, just one glance, and these are all guys from a rock band, the way that they're animated with all these quirky little movements and stuff that are just full of character. The scene where they're all singing into the camera is probably one of the best looking lip syncs in anime history. Like, not only that it matches the song very well, but each character sings with so much personality, just in the way, like, all you see is their face and their mouth movements and the way their eyes are looking, and you can get like that they're totally different people just from the way that they're animated. It's incredibly fucking well done, well timed to the song. The song is so much fun, all the transitions between different parts, the way that it goes into like a higher key as it switches into the midsection where they're singing, you are the sun, you are the stars, to live forever. Then the key goes back down there. Really fucking buttery smooth transitions. And the chorus, of course, you just can't forget. And then the video takes you across America, starting in LA, eventually ending up in New York. Just a great little pastiche of pop Americana, and not really forced too much in your face. I mean, in spite of the fact that obviously everything in the video has that feel, there's lots of just subtle references to things that if you're, reading the t-shirts and the billboards, you'll catch on to. The ED of the show, which we will talk about in the EDs list, is a much more direct reference to just all kinds of Western bands. But yeah, this one, never gonna forget it. At number 15, I have a song I never would have imagined I was going to love as much as I do, and it had to work its way into my heart. But my god, this game, the No Game No Life OP, I can't even help myself with this one. It's another one of those pop songs that, in spite of being a pretty formulaic dance track, has those fucking pianos that just take it way up to a higher level. All through the song, there's just this crazy piano melody always going on, kind of doing its own thing, yet somehow sounding appropriate with the song. Just, whoever's fucking playing piano in this song is a genius. It sounds incredible. All of the melodies, they're flittering, they're adventurous, they feel like they're taking you on an emotional journey, and, all of that on top of what is already a fairly dense song. Like, as dance songs go, there's a lot of detail, there's guitars in there's all kinds of other shit. So, it's still a pretty good song, but the piano is just what makes it. And then you get to that fucking midsection where all the instruments just go berserk. The bass, the drums, even the vocals are all in this crazy fucking tightly knit technical staccato. The no game, no life. When you hear all the instruments going crazy at that part and the piano's noodling through it all, it's just like, whoa, what's happening? And then all of that builds up into and then you hear the piano. Oh my god, it's so fucking tightly woven. It's unbelievable. The piano flourishes in that pre-chorus section are some of the highlights of music for me. Like, that is one of the most delightful things I have ever heard in a song. The fucking pianos in this song make me rock hard. And at first, I didn't like the chorus of this song, because when you hit the chorus, it becomes very simple. It's more about these like violins that are kind of hanging in the background, but it really becomes the vocals become the centerpiece. The beat becomes more straightforward. And like, when I listen to this song, all I can picture in my head is the live show in Japan where everyone's inevitably got to have the glow sticks, and they're sitting there, I know that's what it would look like, and I want to be in there. And that's what enhanced the song for me, is once I just thought of it that way, and I pictured myself in that crowd, listening to all this fucking amazing instrumentation and building up to that chorus, and then just having the release of the, yeah, now we're just fucking headbanging, now we're just jamming. You gotta play this song at maximum fucking volume for full appreciation. One of the best pop songs of all time, in my opinion. I legitimately love this fucking song, and it is not my genre at all. There's other ones similar to this that I do enjoy, something like Only My Railgun from Railgun, but like, that song's fun, but where's the fucking pianos, dude? If you don't got the pianos, you don't got shit. Those fucking pianos make this song possible. And of course, the visuals, well, it's a fairly standard anime OP in most ways. Just the style of No Game No Life is so fucking unique. The just overabundance of colors and the like ridiculously overdone character designs, all of it melds into this whirlwind of visual overstimulation that I think looks good overall. I like the look of No Game No Life, surprising no one since most people do. But yeah, fucking classic OP. At number 14, I have Euphoric Field, the opening of F, A Tale of Memories. Now, if you are a truly deep lore Digibro follower, then you may know that my blog was called Euphoric Field for about a year and a half, from like the start of 2008 up through some point in 2009, I guess. And the reason for that is that F: A Tale of Memories was my favorite anime for a while, and the message of this song, the feel of it as relating to the show, was just incredibly powerful to me. And the song itself is fine. It's actually probably, out of anything that's in the top part of my list, the song I'd be the least likely to casually listen to. Just the fact that I think it's a structurally good song. I think the melodies are good, and I enjoy the goofy English lyrics because they are powerful in their own way. It's just like very amateurish. It's clearly made entirely on a digital audio workstation. There's no real instruments in this song, and the vocals are awkward, but there is the orchestral, synthesized orchestral element to it that does sound really nice. I love the melody of what's going on there, but it's just, comparing it to No Game No Life OP, that one blows this one out of the water musically. But the video that goes along with it, which is comprised of a lot of the usual Shaft-isms, particularly Shin Onuma-isms, because his shows have their own very distinct style of OPs that would continue even after he left and went to Silverlink. Lots of text all over the place, use of soft color contrasts and silhouetted characters. A lot of it is stuff that is in other shows, but just the particular look of his is recognizable. There's tons of great animation in here, from the girl turning and her skirt blowing in the wind and stuff that looks really awesome. But it's mostly about the part where each of the girls is chained up, or the part where they're sort of falling. And those parts, when you get to the final episode, spoilers, by the way, if you had intentions of watching F: A Tale of Memories, I don't know how many people return to that show these days, but if you want a very emotional romance for if you're a teenager who's like trying to do something with your life and like debating over whether or not you want to drop out of school and become an artist, go watch F: A Tale of Memories, because if you're anything like me, it will fucking tear your heart out, but in a good way. It'll make you feel empowered. But yeah, the OP changes in the last episode to the Japanese version of the song, where they're singing it in Japanese, and it sounds better. It's got like more impact in the instrumentation. It's like a louder, more intense version of the song. And the animation changes, and in this one, all the girls break out of their chains, and then as they're floating, each of the guys who they end up with like comes and like scoops them up and takes them off screen, basically. So it's like, this is the version where everybody escapes from the torture that is holding down their souls and moves on. And this is the only time an OP has ever made me cry while watching an anime. It was a very fucking powerful moment to witness that switch up, the change in the song, emotions already running high as we get to this last episode, because I'm marathoning the show all in one go, and then just seeing that switch up, oh my god, ensured that my blog was going to be called Euphoric Field from that day forward. Be alive, take it, get to the new world that you seek, someday, so I believe, with my little wings. Yeah, I just like that kind of messaging, So that's why this one is so high up on the list. If I was judging this purely on video, like, this would be in my top 5 probably, because I do love the way that it switches up in that last episode fucking gets me so hard. But, again, I do like this song quite a bit, just not one of my absolute favorites. And probably everything else on this list from this point forward will be something that qualifies as that. At number 13, I've got the other Ringtoste Segure OP that made my list, which is, of course, the Psycho-Pass OP, Abnormalized, the one that introduced me to the band, and is another one of my favorite songs by them. And in fact, I believe there's a video of me and my brother Victor doing karaoke of this song. It might only be in my Patreon archive, but I believe that one is still on the internet. it's just a fucking another frantic, insane song with one of the most like manic guitar riffs I've ever heard. It's this just wild, intense fury. This band manages to be so goddamn noisy with just 3 bandmates, you know, just a guitar, bass, and drums. But those drums are fucking just constant and intense. I love the fucking drums in all their music. Yeah, this one's got a really bizarre song structure, which is more indicative, really, of what their songs usually sound like than Enigmatic Feeling. That's probably one of their more straightforward tracks. Usually their songs kind of go between all these different subtle shifts in tonality and, you know, just riff into riff of absolute madness as you go along. But this one has this very mysterious feeling, which is represented very heavily in the visuals. Everything is dark as hell. It's basically like using black as a base and then drawing in like blue tones over top of that. Lots of shots of Tsunemori Akane, you know, cool guns and shit, and like DNA spirals. It's very much trying not to reveal too much about the show, I think. Like, this was the first OP, and I think they wanted it to just give you more of a sense of the tonality of the world, just invite you into this dark and mysterious place so that, you know, they wouldn't spoil too much. And then when you get into the second half of the show, that's when you really get, like, all the characters, and you get the more fun, like, okay, the adventure has begun, you're like, we're in the, like, real thick of things kind of OP. But, you know, I do think Ling Toshite Sugure's sound overall reflects the idea of Psycho-Pass pretty well. You know, of course, the song Abnormalize lyrically is all about, like, psychological disturbance. And, I mean, for what it's worth, the lyrics are not the most comprehensible. Like, Ling Toshite Sugure's songs are pretty vague. They're more aesthetic than, like, direct. But there's so many memorable refrains in this. Like, secret remains for you. Secret remains for you. Thanks, plastic world. And of course the plastic tic-tac. The plastic tic-tac. Everybody always remembers that one. That's how the song was referred to, I think, for a long time, was just plastic tic-tac. Worthy meme. Yeah, I just love the song a whole lot. I also like how in the OP version of the song, they added in this little just extra guitar riff at the end to kind of close out the song that's not in the full length. This is another one where the full-length version of the song is even better because there's so many chapters to this particular track, and getting the full thing really, you know, makes you understand what it's going for a little bit more. If you just watch this as an OP, it takes a few go-throughs before it really clicks. Like, it just sounds so fucking insane to hear it for the first time. Just be like, what is going on in this song? It's just changing all the time. But, like, once you get a handle on it, it's some real fucking good shit. Love me some Ling Toss My Segure. At number 12 is the third Eureka 7 OP, Taiyo no Mannaka-e, or To the Center of the Sun, by Bivachi. You know, I didn't put any Naruto OPs on this list, or Bleach OPs, on account of the fact that I haven't watched either of those shows. I'm only really familiar with the OPs through other people's compilations and stuff like that. I know they're all very popular, and there's a couple of punk rock songs from there that I do like, but none of them comes close to just the epic, raw majesty of Taiyo no Mannaka-e. The fucking throat-shredding vocals, the insane operatic highs of this orchestral backing track to this pummeling fucking punk rock song that just it's glistening, it's going straight into the center of the sun. That fucking chorus, Taiyo no Mannaka-e, ima ore wa toberu daro, I can fly away! Fuck! I want to go to the center of the sun right now. And moreover, if the song wasn't enough of a fucking badass punk rock anthem, you've got one of the most creative and awesome videos, OP videos of all time. They basically made a short film that summarizes the general feel of the show, particularly in the midsection arc. It's basically just a video of Eureka free falling through the clouds as, or the open sky really, not so much the clouds, but free falling through the sky as Renton in the Nirvash tries to catch her, and in the middle of this gigantic battle that's unfolding all around them. Of course, a lot of it is in reference to, again, that classic Macross scene that I mentioned in the Zoku Zetsubou OP, which had already been referenced in the big midpoint episode of the show where it happens in the narrative. But in the OP, Renton straight jumps, not so much the classic Macross catching them and pulling them into the robot, but in fact leaping from the robot to grab onto her hands in mid-flight and fall back down into it in the midst of this battle. It's beautiful imagery. It suits the song incredibly well. But the real fucking killer, the moment that makes this such a good fucking OP is when Anemone sees them huddled together inside the mech, sees the strength of their love, sees their passion, and she has this face that is just horrified and crushed. It's like seeing something so beautiful that somebody else can achieve, and having never felt that for herself, it just wrings all the emotion out of her. And when you see that moment, and then you know what happens in the end of the show for Anemone, it's, oh my god, it brings a fucking tear to my eye every time I see it. This is the most emotionally moving OP of all time, bar none. Kick-ass fucking song on top of that. Oh boy, I fucking love this OP, as I do all the ones I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to keep getting more hyped and excited the fucking longer I do this. Ladies and gentlemen, at number 11, we reach the pinnacle of human accomplishment in aesthetics. There has not been a more powerful, more potent melting down of just pure, cute excellence as Platinum Disco. The, I think, second or third OP of Nisemonogatari, one of the deep in Monogatari OPs, all of which are great. We already talked about Renai Circulation, my second favorite. But Platinum Disco is unbelievable. I still can't even believe that it's real. Non-stop, some of the best character animation in the game. Every single piece of this dance that Tsukihi is doing throughout this OP is fucking adorable and delightful and inventive and like no other dance I've seen in an anime before. It's just this weird, kind of off-kilter dance that she's doing to this bubblegum dance pop song comprised largely of like classical Japanese instrumentation, just using like old-fashioned instruments to craft it, since she's wearing a kimono and all, and she's doing kind of like a traditional dance, except it's like a pop version of it. It's just such a genius genre fusion song. Her voice actress sounds great singing this track. All the vocal melodies are killer. All the dances are killer. The yellow backgrounds are killer. I mean, this is like the pinnacle of everything Shaft was building up to over the years. If you've seen like the Panty Pony Dash openings, like Becky's dance at the start of Kidoi, no, not Yellow Vacation, the second one. The Ooh My Ho. None of the Panty Ponies made this list just because I don't love the songs quite enough. I love all the visuals of all of them, and I do like the songs. It was a narrow miss for all three of them, but Platinum Disco just does it so perfectly. I mean, first of all, Bakemonogatari has my favorite character designs probably of all time. Can never get enough of Akio Watanabe designs. Tsukihi is mega fucking cute. All the trippy, like, switching between her long and short-haired versions that goes on throughout this is really cool. Just the weird kind of, like, head fuck imagery at times. The part where she's, like, inside Araragi's mouth. Shaftisms. You would never see them anywhere else. Just so many cool visual ideas packed into one OP with such a catchy, poppy hook. And then the way that the melody of her singing Pura Dinam da 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 like matches over the chord progression underneath it is genius shit, man. This is it. This is as far as aesthetic has come for the human race. Of course, that ain't even my favorite Shaft OP. There's still 2 more on the list, and one of them is the all-important number 10, the Denpa Onna to Seishun Otoko OP, Os Uchujin by Sensei Kamate-chan. Now look, I dropped this show after 1 episode. I don't even know if I finished the first episode. I don't remember. Maybe it's a good show. I don't even know. I barely fucking remember anything about it. But this OP introduced me to what would be, for years, my outright favorite band, Sensei Kamate-chan, who created several of my favorite albums. They are phenomenal, and this song really plays to most of their strengths. It is a chaotic, insane, over-the-top rock song that is foundationally like a pretty straightforward, like pop rock garage kind of song, except that there's just these manic twinkling keyboards sprawling over everything, just going apeshit, which is what their sound is basically straightforward rock songs, except with layers and layers of keyboards and effects and weird melodies and, the vocal synthesizers, Noko's, voice modulated in the background going, na 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 na. I just love this band. I love their sound. I love everything about it. And in this OP, they actually have the voice actress of the main character singing over top of it. And yes, her voice is grating as fuck and obnoxious, but I love it. I love the way she sounds over the song. I love the way they mixed her voice with the multi-track. I love the melody. I love the lyrics, which are actually like really heartfelt and powerful, and heartstring pulling, and there's like a desperation to them. And all of this is juxtaposed over this like incredibly emotional, gripping song is juxtaposed over just the wackiest, most nonsensical imagery possible. All this like stark white with just primary colors bolting over it, all these like lightning bolts and electric waves and girls in wacky outfits with just strong colored design. All the imagery is instantly memorable. I don't know if it has much meaning, but it's wacky and fun, and I like to look at it. I all around love the visuals of this OP, even if they don't make any sense. But it's really the song. It's the fact that this song got me into Sensei Kamate-chan, which, was a band that meant the world to me from like 2011 and up until basically I got into Death Grips, and that became my new favorite band. But, I still listen to Sensei Kamate-chan pretty regularly. They hold a very special place in my heart as a band that was all about the depressive downward spiral of being a NEET in their early 20s, grappling with just the insanity of everything that comes with that. So, yeah, this song tugs at my heartstrings still. I think it's a really, grandiose and emotional song, particularly, again, the full length. This is one of those where when you listen to it all the way through, it's hard not to shed a tear. And I'm the only psycho crazy enough to have actually sang this live at karaoke in front of people in full falsetto. I don't care. I will embarrass myself to know and just to get my heartfelt feelings out there, as you may have noticed in this video. At number 9 is another OP that holds a special place in my heart. I guess probably all the ones that are following, or I could probably say that about. This one is the OP to King of Bandits Jing, Shout It Loud. I don't even know what artist does this song. I probably should learn that. I've only come to love it more and more over the years, but King of Bandits Jing was the first manga that I ever bought, Volume 1. My very first. I treasured it. I read it countless times. It has one of the most unique art styles and aesthetics that evolves as it continues into something increasingly out there and unique the further it goes. And the anime, while it only adapts a small portion of the manga, uses really unique colors and just a general great aesthetic sense to bring it to life in a way that a lot of people have said they like even more than the manga, particularly because the early parts, the artwork is kind of confusing. It's overly detailed. It's a little bit clumsy, and I do think the anime is better at that particular section of the manga, though the animation's not that great, and the pacing is kind of hurt by the way it's adapted, whatever. point being, this OP is of that show, something that's, been with me since I was a teenager, and it's just a really, like, it's like a rollicking kind of heavy rock song, but one with this soft and melancholic edge to it. Like, it opens with this really heavy riff that's like, but then it kind of opens into this expansive, adventurous sounding verse that once again does that thing where, there's that propulsive beat with sort of like longer chord progressions playing out over it. I mean, it's a guitar chord. It's not like it's the same as the violins that I talked about in songs like We Are, but the way that the chord progression is played so slowly allows it to evolve over the course of like a longer section of track that makes you feel like, again, you're on a long adventure. And that's, of course, matched up with the vocals singing like Taikutsu no yoru ni taikutsu no aso wo like, that long drawn out feel gives you this feeling like you're on a melancholic adventure, but one that's full of energy because of just how hard those drums stay all throughout it. And then the transition into the pre-chorus and chorus is magnificent. It's got this little breakdown as he sings, shout it loud, dun, 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 so shout it loud. And then that chorus, though, the rising in his voice, the music, it's like really intense. It's pummeling. It feels like this is the moment when, in a song called Shout It Loud, when it would get really aggressive. But no, it does the opposite. Instead, he gets really quiet and subtle and sings this very soft passage over that rising instrumentation. Azayaka naru hi, kono itotoki, ono itotoki, kimi to hashiru. That vocal is so fucking sweet over that continually driving rhythmic instrumentation. It's such a delightful sound. And in the video, you have the sun coming out of the earth as he sings that line, which looks really badass, always made me emotional growing up. And the visuals in this are pretty cool. It's very experimental, just lots of aesthetic kind of nonsense images. I won't say it's as strong as some of the other things we've talked about, like all the Shaft OPs or anything like that, but what a lot of it is in reference to the different story arcs that are adapted in the anime. So even if, like, some of them just kind of look weird and random, knowing what they're in reference to kind of, evokes the feelings of those particular stories. And having read the manga so many times growing up, that does something for me. And like much like some of the other like early mid-2000s OPs I talked about, there's a lot of playing around with like subtle use of CG or just overlays of different things, warping the image in ways that are kind of comical, but I like the way they look nonetheless. And just striking images like Jing sitting on top of this like gigantic pillar with this angel statue on top of it that looks fucking badass. Yeah, there's some good memorable shit in there, but overall, it's just how emotionally gripping that song is, how great that guy's voice sounds in that rising, melody over the chorus. It's something to write home about. At number 8, I have the American English Pokemon theme song because it is fucking iconic. I would even say generation defining for people my age. It is the theme song of being a millennial, I guess. The original Japanese theme is fine, and there's plenty of great Pokemon themes. In fact, I would have almost put the Best Wishes theme on this list because I love it. But goddamn, that American Pokemon theme, every lyric of it, so deeply ingrained into my consciousness. Every note of that soaring arena rock track with its really fantastically tight structure, all of the, potent chord progressions in the chorus with the pianos underpinning this forlorn sense of adventure while he sings the powerful lyrics about fucking just wanting to be the goddamn very best there ever was, catching them all, gotta catch 'em, it's you and me, I know it's my destiny, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend, Pokemon, our hearts so true, our courage will pull us through, you teach me and I'll teach you, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em. Oh god, I got fucking possessed. At number 7 is one of my favorite songs, the Berserk OP, Tell Me Why, by the Pen Pals. This song is essentially a pretty simplistic and straightforward punk rock song, but played on acoustic guitars. But some of the loudest, most chuggin'-ass acoustic guitars, some of the heaviest sounding acoustics that I've ever heard in a song. And with this electric guitar melody at the start that's just like barely able to even be audible over that wall of acoustic noise, and has this fragile, like, almost cracking quality to it. It's a very interesting melody before, it opens up into the verse and chorus. All very memorable lyrics and, granted, kind of nonsensical English lyrics, but I love the melody of all the lyrics, the vocals in the song. I love the transition into the chorus and the very heartfelt, forlorn sound of that chorus, where you have one guy in the background just with like this very pained sounding voice kind of shouting from somewhere in the distance along with the singer, who's singing in a much more subtle tone. The tell me what, tell me what, tell me what you want. I don't know why, don't know why, don't know why you're afraid. Tell me what, tell me what, tell me what you'd say. I don't know why, don't know why, too late, it's too late. With that nice resolve. Yeah, it's just like a very earthy sounding song. It's, in my opinion, perfect for Berserk. I know a lot of people have taken it as like kind of an upbeat or happy song in some way. It's a really kind of a dismal song, but one that's just very like grounded, and it fits Guts' character really well to me. And the video for it, which is really kind of cheesy and hilarious, but it's basically like a music video of just Guts and every like emotion that he displays, like giving you a more rounded portrait of the character and like what he's really like internally. Lots of symbolic imagery relating to him. It's just basically a character piece about Guts, who is one of the greatest protagonists in, anime and manga history. So, yeah. It's a pleasant listen, and I just love this goddamn song. So that's why it's here. At number 6, I've got the song So Nice I Put It On Twice, the third Goku Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei OP, the Kuso Rumba rap version. This is the pinnacle version of the song that is already a phenomenal song, and really this OP like probably represents my taste in general better than like almost anything else that's out there. I mean, first of all, you've got the already awesome metal song that combines all these elements of the Moe girls singing, Kenji Otsuki's awesome voice, the Koltar of the Deepers, extremely like interesting metal production sound, and over top of that, adding in a rap verse that sounds badass, and especially when you combine the rapping over the chorus, it's just especially awesome. The full version of this track is the better full version, in my opinion. And then you've got the video, and this is where things truly take to the next level, because as the Goku OVAs went along, each version of the OP would add more and more in, and this is where they started adding in the like paper cutout style that would become famous in the Witch Worlds in Madoka, and it's just like utter chaos. There's so much visually going on, so many cutout pieces creating this entirely unique aesthetic like nothing I've ever seen before. And what they do with it is to create all these super memorable and adorable little animations. Probably my favorite is when Sensei and Kafka are dancing next to each other, just doing their little like hips side to side, and then the camera zooms in on each of them and they're like composited out of all this different stuff. The part where she's dancing in the field of flowers and throwing them around, or falling, like she's like tied to a noose around her neck and it's like pulling her downwards across the screen as all the flowers go up on this pale blue sky. Just the aesthetics of this video are so fucking crazy and opulent and detailed, and there's so many images that are just so striking. I mean, the way that Zetsubou Sensei like is able to put manic depression into visual form, powerful already from way back when they did the mask at the first ED that opens that. Like that was like a very good encapsulation of the feeling in an immediately recognizable way. This is like they've gone and just found every conceivable way to display those combinations of emotions, that elation of the manic high and the depression and suicidal tendency of the manic low, all coalescing into one image over and over again and explored in as many contexts as possible. I can't get enough of this fucking video. There's just so much going on in it. So much crazy shit. I think this is the one where there's the shot of Maria where like all these body parts are just pouring out of her eyeballs and mouth, which looks fucking insane. There's grotesqueries, there's exalted beauty, there's everything that I could imagine all wrapped up in this OP. I can't believe that there's stuff that I'm still gonna put above this. And number 5 is one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite bands from one of my favorite albums. It is Hey Hey Ningen Sucker on Ningen Ningen Fucker. What up, people? The second OP of Death Note. I never even made it this far into Death Note, to be completely honest, because I read the manga and didn't really care to continue the anime, but I can't believe this is real. I can't believe they chose to make this the OP. I mean, the ED for this part of the show is another Maximum the Hormone song that sounds more like a pop metal, pop rock, song that was written for the show. They didn't decide to go with that one. They decided to go with one of the heaviest, most intense nu metal songs of all time that is probably unlistenable to a lot of people, that it contains mostly screams for the vocals. And not only that, but which part of the song they chose to showcase is largely the riser where he keeps saying, hey, hey, Ningen Sucker, Ningen Ningen Fucker, hey, hey, Ningen Sucker, Ningen Ningen Fuck. And then they put in the ending of the song where it just turns into fucking complete chaos as he's screaming, what are people, what are people. I go fucking ape shit for this song. This song tears the fucking house down. This song fucking is, it's just one of the it's probably the greatest nu metal song of all time. It's just the heaviest, most intense fucking headbanger, fucking thrasher of a nu metal song that's ever existed. Maximum the Hormone, again, one of my favorite bands. This comes from Buiki Kaisu, one of my favorite albums of all time. I got into them because I found out about them from the Death Note songs and also from some EDs that we're going to talk about in the next video, when we get into the EDs list. But yeah, this song is fucking phenomenal, and the video that they made for it is just fully embraces the insanity of the song. I mean, the image of Light's face laughing maniacally, like copy stamped over and over again as you hear the roar screaming is hilarious and awesome. L turning around in his chair. I love the fucking ridiculous color palette where everything is just like bold as fuck. It's again doing that like kind of overlay effect that was popular in the mid 2000s, but a little bit more subtly. I love the shot where the two bullets are going in front of the guy's face. Just everything about this OP is like, It's like a lurid fever dream. I really think that like Tetsuro Araki was like, okay, I am the hype man. I make the most hype shows. I'm gonna make the most intense, over the top, absolutely insane OP that has ever existed. And like, you know, if I'm gonna fucking make Death Note, if I'm gonna make the most famous anime of all time, then god damn it, I'm using this as an excuse to go all the way. Fuck Zetsubou Billy, that's normie shit. We're fucking doing What Up People, and we're doing it all the way. And I could not be happier with the result. Thank you, Araki, for allowing this to happen. You fucking madman. At number 4, I've got one of the best adult contemporary rock songs ever written, Duvet by Boa, the OP of Serial Experiments Lain. Just such a goddamn well-crafted song. So technically proficient, so buttery smooth in all of its sounds and the production style of it. This song has aged like fine fucking wine since 1998. The bass tones are so warm. The melody that it plays throughout the song is so captivating, with all these different layers of noodling, soft guitars, silky, all over the place, particularly at the end of the OP when you hear the really like complex, multi-layered melodies playing over each other. I love that fucking bit, and the voice, the vocal performance is so lovely. All the lyrics are so fucking memorable, and that chorus soars above the skies. It sounds kind of like, I guess, a Cranberries song, but better than any song they ever made. It's even better than Zombie. It's a fucking phenomenal goddamn track, and the way that the instrumentation, you know, leads you from section to section in this song is masterful. God, just the fucking bass lines are just, you know, are some of the best, and I can't forget that chorus. Video-wise, it's, you know, Lain wandering through the streets in this empty world, this frozen world that, it's funny how clean and, like, pretty this OP is, because the show never looks like this at all. You never get this kind of like really crisp animation. You know, the great shots of like the crows moving their heads around and stuff, or Lane's hair like whipping in the breeze. But what's the most memorable part is, you know, her in all the TV screens, sort of trying to break through, trying to communicate to the masses, trying to make you understand something, you know, trying to reach out through the wired to get your attention. That struggle, that, you know, forlorn, depressive feeling that she has as the vocals wail, I am folding, I am fading, I am drowning, help me to breathe. It's lovely. Such a fucking great melody, such a great song. Of course, the full-length song is also fantastic. Definitely one of my favorite songs of all time. At number 3, oh yeah, it's the Ping Pong OP, one of the most shredding ass fucking punk rock songs ever created. Definitely one of my favorites in the genre, using a lush wall of instrumentation to do nothing but pummel you with as much uncoordinated, wild and crazy sound as humanly possible. The tambourines, the crazy fucking keyboard chord progressions blaring off in the background. When you go through the verse and the bass and guitar are doing two very different, noodling, insane riffs, while the vocalist is, you know, going through all these like super fast bits that are synchronized with the drums that are just fucking machine gun blasting through, and then all this manic, insane energy suddenly clicks into place and goes right into a perfect chorus with the harmonized vocals that are instantly fucking memorable, instantly grab you and pull you right in. And that chorus, a massive chorus, leads all the way through the repeated final lyrics as the chords keep swelling into higher key until you get the non-date, itu-date, goro-dote, garachi-tai-dake. Nothing beats a well-placed scream in a song, let me tell you what. And you got all the aw yeahs and the woohoos and all the fucking wild shit going on in the background. It's just the most rambunctious, out-of-control punk rock song I could imagine. There's so much going on, and all of it's great. And then you got the video on top of that, with this extremely experimental animation style where the line work is just going all over the place, and the movements of the characters have so much life and verve. Just the black and white style, the way that everything is fucking whipping around constantly. It's so fucking expressive. It's so out of control to depict a fucking ping pong match, you know, and like even just the part where it's just Smile like blowing, not Smile, the other kid blowing the bubble. the bubblegum bubble and it blowing up on his face. Everything about this is using absolute technical perfection to convey totally out of control emotion. And that is what I fucking like to see. This one's iconic. I could watch this over and over and over and over again and not get tired of it. I could watch it every day and it would still be just as impressive as it was yesterday. At my number 2 is the song that makes me lose all fucking control and go crazy. The Log Horizon OP, Database by Man with a Mission featuring Takuma. This song is just the most hype beast track that's ever existed. It's another nu metal track, but more in the vein of like Rage Against the Machine, which, you know, like I guess is more like rap rock, if you will. Whatever the fuck it is, the riffs are fucking killer and heavy, and just that goddamn intro. Counteraction rising. Yeah, we are ready for the punchline. There's no use with all your gimmicks, so check this out. Look at you damn once crushed them, won't you compromise? The noise comes, we are ready to build. What about the antidote for the champ and hypnotized? Oh my fucking god. I broke my foot doing karaoke of this song once. I still feel the pain from time to time. 2014, Otoko. Me going apeshit on stage. Literally broke my foot. Had to wear a cast for months afterwards because I couldn't fucking control myself listening to database, just living in the database. Whoa. I fucking just, I don't know what else to say. The song is fucking badass. It's heavy, it's intense, it's fun. The drum fills in the chorus when you go from the first half to the second half of the chorus are intense and awesome. I love the keyboard melody that's overlaid the chorus. You know, the na 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 na. Everything about this song is just way too much fun. So literally too much fun. I hurt myself. It's not okay for it to be this much fun. Maximum volume all day. Video wise, it's Log Horizon. I mean, it's standard anime OP fare, but I fucking love Log Horizon. It's one of my favorite shows. I talked about this in even more depth in my Log Horizon video series, but yeah, I mean, what more is there to fucking possibly say? Database, living in the database. Oh. Kizutsuita hibi no mukou ni nani ga matsu no ka. Number 1 is the Soul Taker. The Soul Taker. It's my favorite OP of all time. I have a lot of history with this fucking song. So way back in 2003, when me and my cousin were first really getting into anime in a serious way, watching Adult Swim every Saturday, Toonami, whatever shows they had, you know, reading Anime Invasion magazine, fucking just getting all jizzed and hyped over anime. Every weekend, we would go to the store, and he would use his allowance to buy a DVD. And he was always researching just, like, whatever looked cool online, and he would buy, like, pretty random shit because, like, not always was all the volumes available, and, like, you know, we always wanted to try new things. So one of the random DVDs he had picked up was the first volume of The Soul Taker. I knew nothing about it, had no reason to, you know anything about it, but, I didn't even really particularly, like, love the show. I thought it was pretty cool, but it was very dark, and I couldn't really tell what the fuck was going on, because when I was a kid, I generally didn't like stuff that was just, like, darkly colored. I tended to like bright, fun, inviting shows. But the OP had stuck with me so hard, particularly because of that opening bit, where Rika Matsumoto, the voice again of Satoshi from Pokemon. I did not know this at the time, having grown up as a huge Pokemon fan, for years and years. Had never really watched it in Japanese, so I would have no cause to know. But Rika Matsumoto is singing this bit, this rising tension. Kizutsuita hibi no mukou ni nani ga matsu no ka soul taker. And that was so iconic to me. I would watch this OP on the DVD, again and again until I had memorized that bit. And me and my cousin would literally sing that before, we would buy a new DVD and sing that opening bit of the song before opening it dramatically on Soul Taker. Open the DVD. Just it was like a holy ritual or something, some kind of heavenly, a biblical verse passed down from the heavens, a hymn that I would sing to honor and enshrine the beautiful anime that I was being gifted with the right to consume, and I continued having that song in my head for years and years. Literally when I was 16, I think, and this is a sad story because my dad went all out and dug into his 401k to buy a professional cinematic camera for me and my cousin to use to try to become filmmakers. It didn't work out, and also we had no idea what the fuck we were doing, and no idea what camera even would have been a good idea. Whatever, that's another story for another time. As we opened the box to the camera in front of my parents who had no idea what was going on, I had to sing the fucking Soul Taker theme. I had to do it because it was just such a grand reveal, such an important moment. That's how strongly I feel about this particular bit. Well, let me tell you. As I started to participate in online anime communities towards the back end of 2006, early 2007, I learned about the group Jam Project, who did the OP. We've talked about them already throughout this supergroup, anime music superstars who've done all these badass, super fucking hot-blooded theme songs. These days they're probably best known for doing the One Punch Man OP Hero. And they are also very well known for the song Skill from one of the Super Robot Wars games, which is just this epic, ridiculous track that they always play live. And, I found out about more of their songs and downloaded some of their albums and stuff because I was in this anime community online. So, I found out about all that, and then I also became a really huge fan of director Akiyuki Shinbo because I had watched Hidamari's Sketch as one of my first subtitled anime, really loved the visuals of that show. Then Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei came out not long afterwards, loved that. Bought Penny Pony Dash, loved that, loved the aesthetic of Moon Phase, all the stuff that he had done with Shaft. And so I found out that he had been the guy who directed The Soul Taker way back. So, I revisited The Soul Taker. I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think The Soul Taker is a great show. It is visually really fantastic, really interesting, and it's probably the most, pure Shinbo aesthetic that has ever existed in a show. But yeah, I became a fan all over again, and The Soul Taker remained my favorite Jam Project song. Having listened to all their stuff, I still think that The Soul Taker is just the most well-constructed, most because a lot of their songs are really overproduced and overdone. There's just too many sound effects, too much ridiculous fucking electronic noise and risers and auto-tune and all this extra bullshit, or the songs have really weird structures. This one's pretty much a straightforward dramatic rock song. It's actually probably more piano driven than anything. It's sort of a ballad, except that it's got this driving rhythm to it, and all of the all the different singers taking turns and then harmonizing for this enormous chorus with, in my opinion, the most memorable melody of them all. So yeah, I just fell even more in love with the Soul Taker theme after hearing the full length, getting into the band, still discovering that I loved it so much. So all of this led up to, at Otakon 2008, Jam Project performed live, and this was my first convention ever. Otakon, one of the biggest conventions there is, and if you've never been to a big con, I can't really describe the insanity of going to one, just like how much there is, like how many people there are. It's like 50,000 people at Otakon, all in one gigantic convention center in what used to be in Baltimore. And it was my first time like really traveling. I was 17. I'd never been like that far from home without my parents, so aside from the fact that the whole convention experience was mind-blowing, I got to see Jam Project live. And, they not only played a bunch of their songs, but individual members were doing, like, the One Piece OP, the Shala Head Shala, all that other shit. And then they come out for their encore, and they're like, what song do you want us to sing? And everybody in the crowd is shouting the names of all these songs. Of course, everybody wants them to do Skill, but they're already planning to do Skill. But they do one song before Skill, and they play the fucking Soul Taker. And it was the best day of my life up to that point. Getting to experience Otakon, experience all these people who, who felt so strongly about anime, seeing all the cosplayers just being like so steeped in the atmosphere of love for this medium that I was so obsessed with, and then seeing fucking Jam Project play my favorite anime OP of all time right before Skill, which is also an amazing song. It was the most incredible experience I had had, and would continue to be that for a few more years afterwards. Yeah, this from that experience alone, the Soul Taker would have to be my number one probably. But over the years I've just continued to love it, and the more I reflect on the Soul Taker, it's just incredible how much stuff that I came to love was packed into this OP. Like the fact that Shinbo became my favorite director later on, the fact that the music's done by Ko Otani, who we already talked about, did one of my favorite soundtracks in Haibane Renmei. The character designs are by Akio Watanabe, who did the Monogatari series, as I've already said, my favorite character designer. Just so much about the Soul Taker I would come to realize was going to like define my taste, even though like when I first saw it, I didn't even really care about the show that much. I mostly just loved the OP, and knowing that the voice of fucking Satoshi from Pokemon is the one who sang that part that I loved so much as a kid, not even knowing that it was related in any way to my former, like, the previous 4 years up to that point, having been nonstop obsessed with Pokemon, and then to be a huge fan of Jam Project on top of that, all of it just coalesces to something that is too meaningful for me to not have as the number one. And I think it's a fucking badass song. I love the chorus. I love just the insane vocals of, all five of them singing at once, the overpowering nature of it. And visually, it's also pretty fucking cool. I mean, it's not my favorite visually. It's mostly just a bunch of weird, trippy imagery in the vein of what Shinbo would normally do. With some pretty cool character art, and particularly like the chorus section of the song has some really badass animations of the Soul Taker just like doing cool poses and like landing on a car and exploding it and all that shit. It's so fucking iconic to me. I can't possibly put anything else in this position. There you have it. That's my number one favorite anime OP of all time, the fucking Soul Taker. And this has been my list. Thank you for sitting through all of my cringe-inducing singing, all of my fucking throat completely shredding to bits from talking for hours and hours and hours as I go through all of these, repeating the same phrases over and over again because I don't know how to describe music without just saying that it's really badass and super fucking chill and cool, dude. I can't control myself. When I talk about music, I get excited because even though I don't really have the words to express my excitement, I feel more strongly about music than I do about probably any other medium. And getting to talk about some of my favorite songs and how they relate to my experiences through the years, I can't understate it. So I just have to be louder and more intense since the words aren't good enough. Anyway, join me again because I'm going to be dropping tomorrow the top 60 EDs list. and the explanations of why I love them. So stick around because the journey's not over. I'll see you then.